What's up, everybody? Welcome to SnailMail.
This is the fun episode where we get to chat with you guys, and you get to chat sort of back to us.
No fun. There's no fun on this episode.
This is not the fun episode where you guys get to write in or call in and tell us about things going on in your life, and we don't have any fun responding.
Nope, none whatsoever. We do not have fun on this podcast, but we do listen to voicemails occasionally. So every week on Fridays. So if you guys have some comment for us from the other shows on Mondays and Thursdays, feedback, or if you just want to say, hey, what's up? You can do that. Call in 916-345-4744. Shall we jump into the first caller?
Let's do it.
Oh, it's our stripper.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Let's see what Reed's got to say.
Hey guys, it's your favorite stripper, Reed, or Brian, whatever PayPal decides to call me. I'm behind. I'm listening to 521. Wanted to clarify something. The PayPal silly thing, it's been in my dad's name because I made it back in like 2000, because I was participating in probably the original cryptocurrency of selling fake items from an old video game called Diablo 2 that I was extremely addicted to, and would hack accounts, sell items, duplicate items, make real money with it somehow. Made enough to purchase one of those old gas-powered GoPeds. But yeah, I've tried multiple times with PayPal and eBay to try and get in my name, but yeah, they just don't want to do it. So yeah, it's just like explaining that whole thing. Random idea. You guys should make a sexy SnailTrail4x4 calendar. Like kind of the firefighter things, but snail trail, whatever. And I'll leave you with this thought experiment. If a cat from Mexico and a cat from America meet in real life, would they be able to understand each other?
Where do we start with all that?
Let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
PayPal name created as father because he was probably a minor at the time, couldn't have a PayPal account.
Yep.
Understood. Selling the items from Diablo, though.
Yeah. Fake items that got duped. Yeah.
That's quite impressive.
Yeah.
I think I played Diablo 2 a little bit. I didn't play. I know people really got into it.
Yeah.
I wasn't so much into it. I liked the original Diablo. That was fun.
Yeah.
But I didn't do 2 or 3. No.
I did a little bit of 3, a tiny bit of 2. I think I played it for a couple hours. And I was like,
yeah,
I'm bored. At that time of my life, I was playing StarCraft.
Yes, that's what I was doing.
And I was very into StarCraft. I played the Zero Clutter map, 3 versus 3 Zero Clutter, and I was top 5 in the world.
Dang.
So
yeah, I was never ranked. What was it in StarCraft when the newest version came out? They would have the different leagues.
Yeah.
And you would be like bronze, silver, diamond, or gold, diamond, platinum, or something like that. Mm-hmm. I was a solid middle of the range bronze.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was fun though. I enjoyed playing it, but Snail Trail calendar.
You guys don't want to see that.
The only way that would happen would be listeners' trucks.
Yeah, I would be interested in that.
Yeah. And then if they wanted to throw sexiness into it, that could be my guess. Yeah.
Okay. I'd be interested in doing that. We could, once we have the studio set up here, we can show the calendar on the TV and each image on the calendar.
Yeah, we could do that as well.
Yeah.
That would be fun. We could definitely do that. Somebody else wrote in an idea for us to do, who was it? Somebody just wrote in an idea for us to do like a an event where we literally drive, but Tyler's on the mic the entire time and talks about the Rubicon. We're driving the Rubicon and Tyler talks about all the events and everything going on where they are in that point.
That was Donnie.
That was Donnie.
Yep.
That would be interesting. What was the last thing on that list? Oh, cats. My question to you, Reed, is can cats even communicate?
They totally can. I think they might have trouble understanding each other just because of the accents, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That could be.
Yeah, that's my guess.
I mean, we can't even understand Scotsman, and they're speaking the same language.
Exactly.
They just have a funny accent.
Yep. Same with Australians.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I get them occasionally, but
occasionally. It's the same. It's English language. I know that they're saying a word.
Yeah.
I have no clue what that word means, though, apparently.
Right. Like Barbie.
Yeah, Barbie.
Like that's a doll.
They're talking about a doll. Yeah. Anyways. So yeah, fun stuff. Thank you, Reed, for calling in and having a nice, fun, random voicemail there.
Definitely random. Yeah. Appreciate it, Brian. Thank you.
Next one. No name.
What's your name?
Here we go.
Ja, så inne och mus på Elena. Anyway, whatever. I'm Nick from Greece right now. I think I am the first, or I might be the farthest international message at the moment. I wanted to leave the message of Bronco Sport. I had the Escape, which is essentially what that is. And for a daily driver for a long time in Montana, worked great. So I think as a regular daily driver with all-wheel drive, they're great. And to Tyler, traveling internationally as a 6'4" guy, you just got to pony up the cash and buy the good seats. It's worth it. You're old. We're middle-aged now, according to my doctor, and he's got to spend the money. All right, guys. See you. I'm going to go buy a Hilux.
I wish. I could get those here. Yeah, I knew. So he did message me and he asked if I wanted a grease plate at one point. And I said, heck yeah, we'll take one.
Yeah.
But
is he going to steal one off a car and bring it back?
Well, I don't know the extent of the story, but he said that they were cleaning out his father-in-law's house.
God.
And I don't know why, in my mind, I put 1 and 2 together that he was in Monterey kind of area where I went to college because he knew this is the guy that knew Mojito.
Mojito, that's right.
And so I thought that they were in the Monterey area cleaning up his father-in-law's house. But what it sounds like is he's in Greece.
Yeah.
Cleaning up his father-in-law's house, and he got a license plate out there.
Nice.
And he must be bringing it back from Greece and then sending it to us.
Cool.
So that's going to be cool.
Sweet.
But yeah, dang, we have had an international. We've had Australia.
We've had Charles call and Aaron. I think Aaron has called in before.
I think that might be farther.
Yeah, it's a 16-hour flight if you do nonstop to Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's 10 hours to Greece. 11.
It's probably like 12.
Okay.
So I don't know. Yeah, I would say that Australia is farther.
I would venture to say that as well.
No, sorry, Nick.
So yeah,
but I think you're our first European caller.
No, didn't we have what's his face up in?
Did the guy from Estonia ever call in?
Estonia. I think it was our Estonia listener. I thought he called in at one time.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. Call in.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
I know that our friend from, was it Germany? Our mathematician.
Oh yeah, Constantine.
Constantine never called in.
Nope, he never
always wrote in.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if, I want to say he did call in Estonia. It's been so long. All right, moving on. Anyways, thanks for calling, Nick. If you get that Hilux, bring it back here to California.
Sweet.
Not Montana.
Montana.
Not Montana. California.
All righty.
Okay.
Next one is Lance, not the company.
Cool.
Holy crap, it's a long one.
Bring it on,
and he
Lance.
called twice because he got cut off.
Perfect.
All right, here we go.
Hey, Tyler and Jimmy, Lance not the company, calling in with regards to episode 535. The questions you guys were posing about balance, like family balance and work balance, basically like work-life balance. And I think I've talked to you guys before about, you know, I don't work some of the hours that some of these guys do. I'm doing about 65 a week, maybe 70 sometimes when it gets busy, 70 to 80. I know a lot of these guys are doing a lot more than that in some cases. But, you know, I'm on my second marriage. I have 5 kids. Don't worry. We've bought a TV, so we have something else to do now. But, you know, you were talking about the balance aspect of that, and I think the first part of that comes with communication, being able to talk about what it is you want to accomplish, and not just, you know, with what you want to do project-wise, but what you want to accomplish in your marriage and your relationships, like laying down some kind of ground rules and saying, this is what I'm about, this is how I operate. I've been married for a while, like you guys have been married for a little while. Sometimes it's hard to go from the situation you're in now to basically laying down the ground rules. You know, you've been together for quite some time, so it's hard to see or enforce any kind of change. But it is important, and with that, I think there comes some baby steps where, you know, you open up a communication and say, you know, hey, here's the deal. This is kind of what I need to get done. I'm going to put it on the calendar like you guys talked about. I'm going to put it on the calendar, or I'm letting you know now that this is what is important to me. This is what I have to get done, and I have to finish A, B in order to get to C. So some of these things that aren't as big of a deal, like a, you know, small bathroom remodel that doesn't really need to happen. But the balance part comes with being able to accept what they want out of you as well, and kind of finding that balance on, hey, this is what, you know, I want to get done. This is what you want to get done. Let's carve out the time we need to do the things we need to do. Because as guys, like you also talked about in the podcast, you know, as guys, we tend to bottle things up. And, you know, it may never explode. It may never bubble over until it may, depending on how.
That was him getting cut off.
Yep.
Let's
continue on.
He called right back, so we'll continue on here.
Hey guys, before I start the company again, I don't know if I got cut off for time or if I'm in a bad area. I'm kind of a mixture of both, maybe. So I'll just button it up with saying I think communication is going to be the biggest piece. Being able to talk to your spouse genuinely, but soft enough for them not to get upset and to understand your feelings and how you want to get things done, and go from there. I think it's kind of the biggest piece of the whole puzzle. As always, 6 out of 5 every time, and keep growing.
Nice. Yeah, thanks. That's great advice. I think I did have a few people write in. I had quite a little conversation with Reggie Miller, one of our longtime followers or subscribers, and a lot of it came down to communication. Just you got to communicate. You know, if you're not vocalizing what the issue is, they have no idea.
I mean that's a very fair point. I mean we're the same way, right? If they're 100%. Not vocalizing why they're upset or anything like that, and they're always like, "You should know." You're like, "No, we don't know. We can't read minds. Yeah. So unless you vocalize it and tell us, we don't know." That's
100%.
That's it goes both ways.
Yeah, and so then once the communication is established, then it comes into what do you do next? Like the calendar is a fantastic thing. Like if it's not on the calendar, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Right. I have no idea what's in your head.
Yeah.
You're not communicating with me. You're also not putting it on the calendar. How would I know this is happening?
Yeah.
So a calendar, a shared calendar, right? Or something written on a wall, you know, like a calendar hangs on that in the house somewhere that you both have access to the calendar, is an essential item, I think, to schedule it up. So I've now put in like a 2-hour block of working on Samantha on Monday afternoon.
Nice.
You know, from like 6 to 8, or I think it was 6:30 to 8:30.
Mm-hmm.
I now block that off in our shared calendar.
Yeah.
Like these hours I'm busy.
Yeah.
Then you can't take them from me.
Yeah. My 2 hours.
My 2 hours. You know, and then she does things with her, you know, her mom's group or whatever. And those are every other Thursday, and she's busy on those times.
Yeah.
So, I think that's a big one. So first step is communication, I think. And then it's figuring out what works in your life or your relationship to organize the communication.
Yeah. Okay.
And, you know, and I don't know, this Reggie guy's pretty smart. He said, everybody's different. So you have to figure out your own way.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Cool. I like it.
I think there is, though, like an umbrella, like this is the concept. Now figure out how to work it.
Yeah.
You know?
True.
So, yeah. Yep. All right. Appreciate it, Lance. I appreciate feedback always. Thank you. That was a 6 out of 5 stars on feedback.
Perfect. Next one up is Uncle Kevin.
All right. Mr. Pool Noodle.
Mr. Pool Noodle. Calling in before 7 a.m. What's wrong with you, Kevin?
Hey.
I think he actually makes comments about the times right now. All right, here we go, Mr. Kevin.
Hey, Jimmy, Tyler, Kevin here. Hey, so yes, that is pretty normal. You get home from work, dinner time, make dinner, get the kids ready for bed, do homework, whatever you got to do, and then once they're in bed, you get to do whatever you need to do in the garage. Or you find a Sunday when you can put them on a video game and you can go out in the garage as well. But pretty much that's about normal for everybody I know. And the more you learn, like in the beginning stages when they're young, they sleep a lot more, so you have more time. As they get older, they stay up later. They don't go to bed at 7. They go to bed at 9, 9:30, so you lose a little bit more time. But yeah, pretty normal. That or you wake up early around 4 o'clock in the morning and go out into the garage until 8 o'clock on the weekends while they're sleeping, and you get at least 4 hours on the weekends. But pretty normal for me. All right. You guys have a good one.
All right.
Yeah. More good feedback.
Yep.
So what works for me or my family so far in the limited time, and I think you're sort of in the same ballpark here, is my significant other likes her sleep and does not want to be woken up.
Gotcha.
So what I haven't tried the get up in the morning thing yet, but I can't go to bed late.
Okay.
Because if I go to bed after she goes to bed, then there's the chance that I might wake her up. And then there's the chance, then most likely she's probably not going to fall back to sleep, or she has a hard time falling to sleep in the first place. That's why she doesn't want to be interrupted in the sleep cycle.
Okay.
So she literally will stay in bed. Like if I'm editing a podcast late at night and up until like almost midnight, she's in bed, not sleeping because she's waiting for me to go to bed. So then she can fall to sleep, which I don't understand.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't you like you could have just got another hour of sleep right then, maybe.
Yeah.
And then I woke you up and then you'd be up for a little bit and then you'd probably spend the same amount of time going back to sleep.
Yeah.
So why does it matter? You could have slept more. But yeah, so I have to get all my work done before she goes to bed.
Interesting.
Yes. The mini assistant, not so much. Like if I don't say goodnight to her, it's not that big of a deal because she'll go to bed, but I have to be home and going to bed before the assistant goes to bed.
Gotcha.
Or at the same time.
Yeah.
I haven't tried waking up early though.
All right.
I know that the few times like I've been traveling or I have to forced to get up way early to leave, sometimes she falls back to sleep and sometimes she doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that's, we communicated that.
Yeah.
And that's the conclusion that we came to for what's working for us.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Nice. Next up.
Yeah. Who is it?
Baily with Better Half Off-Road.
Okay.
Let's see what, I guess it's a new time caller. I don't recognize that one. So let's see what we got from Baily.
Sounds like it by the Instagram name or whatever. It sounds like it's more feedback.
Maybe.
Yeah. Excellent.
Hey guys. Hopefully you guys are having a good time. This is Baily with Better Half Off-Road. I'm just north of you guys out here in Washington State. And we are slowly approaching the winter season, winter wonderland, favorite time of the year. And a few questions I had for you guys. We have been using the rugged radio handhelds for quite a few years now, and it seems that we are having a little bit of issues with distance the last couple years. Wanting to see if you guys have any input or advice. We have talked about going to the actual head unit that mount in the cab, but the handhelds are pretty versatile, as you guys know. And I want some more feedback on some repeater information. Is that something that the public is able to use to obtain better distance and better quality talking between the radios? And if so, let me know what your guys' feedback is, and I do appreciate it. You guys have a good one.
I love this call. This is a fantastic call.
I thought you were going to give family advice here, Baily. Dang it.
That's funny.
You talk on that. I'm pretty sure we did an entire repeater episode at one point.
We've done a few,
so I'm going to look that up while you're dissecting this.
First off, if you've had some rugged radios for quote unquote a few years, you probably have one or some mixture of their earlier model radios. Their earlier model radios were literally just rebranded Baofeng UV5Rs. The Baofeng radios are great. They're super cheap. You can get them $35-$40. I think $30 to $40 average on Amazon. So literally you're paying for a lithium battery, really. You're paying for a battery and getting a free radio is what it comes down to. Those radios are great for about 1 to 2 years. Plan on Baofeng radios for the most part to be consumable items that you're going to have to replace about 2 to 3 years. The transmitters in them are not great. The receivers are not great. They sound great at first, but they deteriorate rapidly for a quote unquote lifespan of a radio.
Right. Another thing about the deterioration that you've talked about in the past is they deteriorate maybe physically, but what I think you're kind of talking about is when they're sending a message out, they're now sending it out on a wider frequency, bandwidth that would cover additional frequencies though, right? So it's this bigger bandwidth that's sending out. So it's not quite as precise as it was originally.
That too. Yeah. So the transmitters just go out on them. They start doing wonky things. So anytime you get a Baofeng radio or an earlier generation rugged radio, plan on needing to replace that in roughly 2 years. So there's the first part. Second part, if you're getting rugged radios, please make sure you're getting their GMRS radios that they just came out with in the past year, I think. Those are actually fairly decent quality. They spec them out themselves. And more importantly, they're not commercial frequencies. So rugged radios for a very long time only sold commercial frequency radios. They were selling them to the public for recreational use.
Correct.
Which is a huge no-no. And they've been slapped by the FCC at least 5 times that I know of.
Wow.
So, unfortunately, the FCC has not actually fined them yet. They just keep slapping their wrist and saying, don't do this anymore.
Stop it.
And so Rugged Radios comes out with a new radio that still doesn't adhere to FCC standards. And then FCC finds out about it in 2 years and says, stop it. And then they come out with a new radio that still doesn't adhere to FCC standards.
Yeah.
Anyways,
they're putting Band-Aids on is what it sounds like.
They're putting Band-Aids on and they're trying to walk the very thin line of legality.
Sure.
And the FCC has bigger fish to fry. They're dealing with national satellite frequency issues right now, right? So they're not worried too much about a little off-road company making handhelds. But anyways, so try and just make sure you get their GMRS radio. Stay away from the commercial radios if you are a recreational user. If you actually want to use radios for commercial frequencies, commercial applications, you have a business license for your own frequency, get a rugged radio. Just make sure you reprogram it for your frequency rather than using everybody else's business frequencies that are on those radios.
Right. Real quick then, what is a good radio that is a ham radio? Just throw out a few good ham radios that aren't Baofangs.
So there's, let's see, in terms of handheld radios, I really like the Baofangs.
Okay.
Especially for off-roading, because just our equipment gets used and abused when off-roading. And those Baofeng handhelds have a lot of features on them.
Yeah.
They're actually really handy things to have. They can do a lot. You just need to understand that you're gonna need to replace them in 2 years.
Sure.
But at the price they are, you can get like 4 of them.
Yeah.
Before you reach the price of a Yaesu FT60. The FT60 from Yaesu is one of the most, if not the most robust handheld radios out there. You can launch, it's like a Shure microphone, an SM58 that we're using here in the studios. You can launch them across a room, throw them against a wall. They get up, they giggle about it, laugh, and go back to work.
Right.
So the FT60, super stout, super great handheld. It's amazing for off-roaders. It's the reason why the Rubicon Trail Foundation recommends that one for all off-roaders. The only reason I don't like it is it's a single VFO radio.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
So you can only monitor one frequency at a time.
Sure.
That's my main beef with it. And one of the reasons why I like to recommend the Baofeng radios to people, it's a cheap entry point. They're disposable.
Yeah.
Fortunately. And they have a ton of features. So
got it.
For head unit radios that he's talking about. So the big benefit to head unit radios, there's 2 big benefits. 3. One is more power.
More power.
So typically your handheld radios are running 5 to 8 watts.
Correct.
Your built-in hard-mounted head unit radio is typically going to run 50 watts. So you're getting 10 times the amount of power that you can use out of that radio. That's reason 1. Reason number 2 is better antennas.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So antenna signals and radio signals work on gain. Their signal strength is measured in gain, right? Decibels.
Mm-hmm.
Decibels are not a linear increase. So if they're a multiplicative.
Yeah. Exponential.
So exponential increase in signal strength. So if you take an antenna that is on a handheld Baofeng,
yes,
it may put out 3 decibels of gain.
Sure.
Right. So, and for every 3 decibels, you double the power. The effective power of what you're putting out.
So if you have a 3 decibel antenna, you're putting out 6 watts of power.
What does the radio put out? If it's a handheld radio doing 5 watts of power.
Oh, okay. So it doubles
whatever the input power to the antenna is.
Got it.
So
if the 5 watt radio and you have a 3 decibel antenna, you're putting out 10.
You're putting out 10 watts effective radiated power, ERP. And that's a very simplified version. I know we have a couple of listeners that are actually RF technicians.
Sure.
There actually is a very precise way to measure that. And it's not exactly 10 watts, but we're
not exactly double.
Okay? Yeah. We're going to make it simple for people.
Simple math for Jimmy.
Because there's other losses in antennas with how coax, how it's wired, what materials, blah, blah, blah. Anyways. So we're going to keep it simple. ERP and gain every 3 decibels. You're doubling the amount of power.
Sure.
As your effective power.
Okay. So you can add bigger antennas to a handheld though.
You can, but you typically are never going to be able to get over 3 to 3.5.
Okay.
Without having
a size of the antenna does not change the decibel output.
Not necessarily. Okay. It can, but not necessarily.
Got it.
With antennas you can put on cars, you can make 6, 9, and 12 decibel gain antennas for vehicles.
Are those powered?
They're not extra powered. Nope.
Okay.
They just
So like the
amplify.
magnet one that I have that I use for my handheld, is that more decibels?
It's a little bit more decibels on the UHF frequencies,
Yeah.
but it's about the same as what your regular antenna would be, maybe a little bit more for your VHF frequencies.
Right. Okay. But the big benefit for that one is that it's outside the vehicle.
It's out. You can use your handheld with an antenna on the outside of the vehicle.
Yeah.
That's the benefit to that.
I don't have a metal cage around it.
No.
Yeah.
You don't have a Faraday cage holding in all your signals.
Not like my house. I mean,
yeah. So with a high powered radio, you got 50-watt radio with a better antenna. Let's say you put a 6 decibel antenna on.
Ooh.
So how much effective power is that 50-watt radio putting out now?
I don't know. Is it putting out 100? Or, well, 100 would be 3 decibels.
Uh-huh.
So the question is it putting out, so then is it doubling 100? Is it putting out 200?
Yes.
Okay. Because it's exponential.
Because it's exponential.
Yes.
It's multiplicative.
Yes.
Multiplicative.
Okay.
So anyways, your 50-watt radio is now effectively a 200-watt radio, which is whatever the math is, better than a 5-watt handheld.
Yeah.
So that's your major difference. And you're getting the antenna to the outside of the car automatically, right?
Right.
So that's your two big differences that you're going to see in signal strength and effectiveness of your radio by going to a head unit radio, quote unquote.
Cool. Okay.
The third big one is that most of the times the head units can come off of the radio.
Yes.
So you can just have the head unit on your dashboard somewhere and the radio itself is stashed somewhere in the car.
Yeah. Under a seat or behind the seats or something like that.
Yep.
So his last question was about repeaters.
Yep.
We did an entire episode on repeaters, episode 358, how to find and use repeaters. So
Sweet.
We'll cover it very briefly right now, but if you want to dive in more or want to learn more about it, you can check out episode 358.
358. Cool.
Yes.
I think he had the specific questions of, are repeaters open to be used by public? Yes.
Yes.
Ham radio, amateur radio, same thing.
If you have your license.
If you have your license, right? So amateur radio, ham radio, the big overarching goal of ham radio is to make it kind of an open source resource.
Yes.
So anything that's out there is typically going to be open to be used by the public as long as you have a ham radio license.
Right. So it's not really open to use for the public.
If you have a license.
Well, you have to have a license.
Well,
Therefore, you're not.
Technically, if there's an emergency.
Yeah. If there's an emergency, you can use it. You don't need a license, but it has to be a true emergency.
Life or death of yourself or another person or private property.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah. But it's not open to any Joe Schmo to use.
No.
So you do have to study for the test. You have to pay because it does cost mainly the people to show up.
Mm-hmm.
There are tests online now that you can take. So you do have to have a ham radio license to use the repeaters.
Yep.
That said, which we have never really done a topic of, there are GMRS repeaters.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's any out where you live, but you have to have your GMRS license, which costs, I don't know what is it now? It's all the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. $35 and no test. Mm-hmm. And it covers the family, I believe.
Yep.
And if there's repeaters out there, then you can use the repeaters in that area as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you want to find repeaters and see if there are repeaters in the places you go to, there's a website called repeaterbook.com. There's also an app for your phone that you can download, and it will tell you all the ham radio repeaters near you. And they just started doing GMRS stuff within the past year too.
Perfect.
The main GMRS database is mygmrs.com though.
Okay.
So both those two websites will tell you where repeaters are, and you can look them up and see, is it more beneficial for you to go with the GMRS because it's simpler and easier? Or do you want to learn a little bit more about how radios work, get your ham license, and have a much bigger feature set of things you can do with radios?
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah.
Well, that was a lengthy, in-depth question, but we repeat those.
Yeah.
We appreciate those is where I was trying to say. So thank you very much. And we enjoy them. And that's why we're doing these snail mail episodes, because you guys have questions that we didn't answer or we answered so long ago we all forgot about it.
Yeah, exactly. So cool. We love hearing from you guys. Keep calling in 916-345-4744. Any question is open in the air. We'll try and answer it as best we can. If we can't answer it, we'll say sorry and move on to the next caller.
Yeah, or we'll phone a friend.
Yeah, phone a friend, see if we can figure out the answer. So sweet. I guess that's it for the Friday snail mail, huh?
Yeah, I believe so.
Cool. I guess with that then.
We out.
The number you have called has been disconnected.